I'm a K-5 librarian, and we're lucky if we're getting half the kids logged into the Google Classroom, let alone actually doing anything on there. So, trying to get them.
Where are you
What?
located?
New Hampshire.
Okay. So do you think it has to do with lack of resources on behalf of the kids, or what is the do you have a sense of what it is?
I think the bigger sense is they just don't think it matters. It's not important to them, so they're not bothering.
Did your
Especially when they
state
start.
shut down I'm sorry, did your state shut down all at once, basically said that school was canceled as of March 13th or 18th or whatever?
Yeah, it was school is out until April 4th for everybody, and then we're going, you got a week off, and then we're going remote learning. And then we did that for 2 weeks, and they said, oh, by the way, we're going to be shut down for the rest of the year.
Right.
So it's been really hard on the kids, and they don't really see a purpose to, well, why do we bother? Because we're not going back, and it's not like we're really getting graded for anything.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, I mean, and from that perspective, is your frustration that you can't get them to stay motivated? Is that the frustration for you?
Well, we work really hard to do stuff that's going to at least be fun for them or a little bit different. And it's hard when you do all the work and then nobody comes in and does anything.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.
Tahira Ahmad. Tahira, can you hear me? Tahira? I think Tahira was with us last time, actually. Najim, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, we were just asking, thank you for coming. Did you have, are you an educator?
Yeah, I'm a postgraduate student of library and
Okay.
information science.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Jeanette, let's see, where's Jeanette? Jeanette, are you there? Jeanette Mateus? Adrienne Cromer?
Yes, that's me. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Doing great. I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia, and I'm a children's librarian for our Youth and Family Services Department. And I'm here to get a great learning lesson.
Okay. Are you guys doing a lot of stuff online?
Yes, we are online, yes.
And how's it going?
So, not bad, not bad.
Good. Well, thank you for being here.
And thank you for having me, sir.
Shannon Curry. If I can get you unmuted here. Doesn't look like it. How about Karen McCarthy? Karen?
Yeah, hiya.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm actually from Ireland, and I teach in further education, so I don't have a school going at the moment.
Okay. I was very fortunate to get to go to Dublin before all this happened, and I was very excited. That was a kind of a lifetime dream of mine. I really appreciated it. So thank you for being here.
Very good, thank you.
Let's see. How about Gayla Lynn? Are you there?
Yes.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm Gayla Insco, and I'm from Russellville, Kentucky. I'm
Okay.
a supervisor at a public library here in Russellville. And I'm just kind of coming in, trying to listen to some of the tips that you might have today to help the library that I work at.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Let's see who we have. Did we try Shannon Curry? Let's see. How about Johanna? Joanna?
Johanna?
Johanna.
Yes, Johanna. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I'm a high school English and theater teacher, actually. And our high school closed on March 13th, and we had 2 weeks off, and then we went to remote learning. And I also teach creative writing to high school students. So I teach English, creative writing, and theater. And I have to say, it has been challenging to motivate students teaching remotely because everything is ungraded and they seem so motivated by grades that I'm really I'm interested in being part of this webinar, and I'm really glad that you are talking about motivating students through connection, because that's something that I really need to work on since the school has gone to remote learning.
Great. Thank you, Johanna. Let's see, who else? It's Nick Hobar. Mr. Hobar.
Hey, good morning. This is Nick Hobar in Baltimore.
How
My
are things
passion
in
is
Baltimore?
virtual professional learning, and I do it through Learning Front.
Do it through learning what? I'm sorry?
Learningfront.com.
Okay. And I'm sorry again, you're a virtual teacher?
Professional learning, virtual professional learning for teachers,
Okay.
principals, educational leaders, and also some work in government and with the CDC training for wellness in companies.
Oh, you must be busy.
And happy.
Good. Thank you for being here. Elaine? Is that Elaine? Can you hear me, Elaine? How are you?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? I'm great.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Elaine Tamel. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm Elaine Tamel. I live in Rhode Island. I teach right over the state border in Connecticut, Language Arts and Social Studies, grade 5. We've been out of school since March 13th. Fortunately, we had a crazy effort to get laptops out to all of the students in our district. The first few weeks were very rough. Things I've just share super quick that have worked well for me, and I'm by no means rocking this, but I found a few things that helped. My PTO gave me money for postcards. So I've been writing a postcard to my kids every week to stay connected. I've started letting kids, I have a few kids that I will let lead the class every day and present. 3 kids led our class this morning, and kids are more interested in hearing them than me all the time. We are grading, which is a little crazy, reduced report cards, but we are having assessments and grading, reaching out to parents. And also, I know theater must be brutal, but I had 4 kids dress in, I teach colonial history. They dressed in colonial costumes. I mean, it was like white t-shirts on their heads as hats, but they did a reader's theater, and I recorded that for the other kids, and they love that as part of the lesson. So I am just looking for any ideas and appreciate everyone being here.
Thank you. Yeah, the handwritten letter. Imagine that. That's probably one of the most powerful resources in the midst of all of this is the handwritten letter. Shireen, is it Shireen?
Hi, can you hear me?
Shireen?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi there. I'm calling from Geneva, Switzerland. We've been on lockdown since the 14th. I think it's similar to Elaine. We are actually planning to go back to partial schooling on Monday. So I'm here to gather any nuggets that I can. I've been staying in touch with my students. We were doing full remote learning in Google Meet for every lesson, and then I took several courses, and then I moved on to doing some synchronous and asynchronous just to make sure I survived this. So I'm here to learn anything I can from all of you.
Thank you for being here. Barbara?
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Good. I'm actually an ENL teacher for Eastern Suffolk BOCES. And the last day we had school with the students was actually March 13th. We were given 2 days to get ready to make supplies, which were sent to the home. And then during that time, we started using Google Classroom, and that's been a big help. They gave my school program gave 15 laptops out, and I believe over 500 iPads to the students within the whole ES BOCES region. So we really try to, build equity for the kids.
Great.
So forth. And things that I'm learning a lot from this program, Learning Revolution. It's actually really inspiring. And then I like to try to share it with what I learn with the kids and also my peers. So that's been really helpful.
Great, thank you.
The motivational tips. I like, in the morning, I notice I like to give the kids like a motivational quote. And I also send it to the parents. And they seem to be responsive. Like that's how I try to reel them in. So.
Great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Shannon Curry. Let me get you unmuted. No? How about Heather Bush? Heather?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning. I teach middle school, social studies and English, designated English learners, and I'm in San Diego. So I'm just here to explore some more options for getting students to connect, because we are seeing because like a lot of you, we've been out since March 13th. And we've been doing remote learning. We're moving into, I think, week 4 of the required remote learning. We have 6 more weeks left of school. We don't get out till mid-June. So we are struggling to keep kids coming. And we do mostly asynchronous. And we are allotted time twice a week to connect face-to-face with students on online platforms. But we're seeing more and more as weeks go by of less attendance. So
okay.
Just here to see ideas.
Thank you. Ashika Brinkley.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm a college professor in Connecticut, and I've taught online, but student engagement has shifted significantly in light of everything going on. So just looking for new ways to engage students and support students online, considering that people have a lot of not just competing priorities, but people are sort of working through mental health issues, I guess, or emerging mental health issues with all of this going on. So
absolutely. Thank you very much. Pam Curtin. Pam?
I'm here.
How are you?
Good. I'm calling in from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I work at Milwaukee Area Technical College, and I also teach online for another college where I teach master's level capstone courses. So engagement is very, very challenging. And I think for students who struggle with technology, it's just another layer. And so many students, because we are an urban college with so many students who are relying on the college for access to technology, and with everyone now trying to access from home, not only did we have the issue with the lack of computers, lack of internet access, we also had to problem solve how to provide alternatives for those very, very important laboratory courses, whether it be welding or fire science, police science, nursing, all the ways those laboratories and clinicals have to continue, and some either delayed format or in a new format. So that engagement, we're just all watching, as many webinars and trying to gain insight from what other people are doing. This morning we were on a statewide call on online proctoring, so authentication and proctoring and all these things now that were sort of peripheral to our jobs are now like, we've got to demonstrate these things.
We got a lot going on. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Teddy G. You there, Teddy?
Hello, how are you doing? My name is Teddy. I currently work at SUNY Geneseo as a manager. I attended your meeting last week and I found it very insightful, so I'm here again to learn more.
Thank you for being here, Teddy. All right, Jeffrey Horan. Rinda?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I worked for years for an award-winning distance learning program where I launched some 2D and 3D environments. So because my curriculum design already encompasses a project-based approach online to Bloom's, we're just transitioning them all completely into the 2D and 3D environments, and we get to be there present in person in avatar form. So some of my students are dragons and some of my students are bunnies and some of my students are kids, you know. I think that the biggest problem is reminding them that they're in school, so they still have to match the school dress code. But they're able to do regular core curriculum activities in this environment, produce products and knowledge and give presentation to each other a lot and help each other a lot. And next Friday, I'm giving a presentation in one of the virtual environments to college professors about how to transition your assessment to competency-based instead of just, you know, paper, pencil, multiple choice essay kinds of stuff.
Wouldn't that be fun? Can you share that resource or what you're doing in the chat, if you wouldn't mind? Give people some ideas where they can find out more information. That sounds really exciting.
Sure.
Thank you. Let's see, I think we've got pretty much everyone. Anyone want to raise a hand if you haven't gotten a chance to introduce yourself? I'm looking, I think, Jeffrey, Shannon. How about Jennifer? Jennifer, are you there?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Hi, I teach secondary social studies at SUNY Potsdam. I supervise student teachers and teach some of the methods courses.
Great. Thank you for being here. And Maria, I think Maria is maybe our last one. If anybody else, raise your hand if I didn't get to you. Maria?
Hi, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm back for another week and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Asadki? Where's Asadki?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Yes. Hi.
Welcome.
I teach chemical engineering in Casablanca University. I always teach face-to-face. It's my first time I use e-learning.
Oh, well, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Does anybody else raise your hand if you didn't get a chance to say hello? We can bring you in.
I'm fine.
Who's that? Do we have somebody there?
Just Vendela Fleming.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Are you a teacher?
Yes. Reading intervention.
Okay. That must be challenging right now.
It is. It is. But a lot of it's computer-based also, so it kind of helps.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here. All right. So we're going to share the screen. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing here today, talking about motivation. And I got to, you know, first and foremost, and please don't in any way, shape, or form feel like that you're going to hurt my feelings if you decide to leave the conversation today, because I am probably going to challenge some of your core fundamental beliefs about education and what's going on right now. And that's my goal with the Virtual Classroom Show, is to really make people think about what's important right now and to get people focused on you know, really thinking about the child first, because I mean, I'm hearing so much from educators. I'm doing these Facebook Lives, doing the Learning Revolution, doing these kinds of things and talking to teachers and parents who are overwhelmed with the idea of trying to force this curriculum and to continue things as if nothing has happened or that everything's going to be the same when we get back. And I think that, you know, my point and my goal along the way, and I'm going to open the chat here. If you want to raise your hand during the, where'd the chat go? We lost it. You should be able to get that. Excuse me. Oh, there it is. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. And by the way, if you're new to the virtual classroom, don't be afraid to make mistakes and show that you're human. The kids appreciate it. It's one of the best ways that we can stay in touch with them. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that we're facing right now personally, and the reality of what we're coming back to and what we do and the situation that we do. And I think for a lot of educators and a lot of parents, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, the situation that we're in right now and the reality of what's going to be the economic fallout of this, I think really it's important for all of us to take a deep breath and kind of ask ourselves what is important right now, what's pivotal, what do our students need to be hearing from us as leaders, as teachers, as educators. And obviously the curriculum and the things that we had planned and all the things that we're trying to get accomplished, whether you're in a grading environment or a non-grading environment, all of that is incredibly important, but it's not important right now, because what we're dealing with is a worldwide sense of grief and loss. And the grief and loss cycle is a very, very well studied psychological approach to grief and loss. And I don't think you've met anyone that hasn't been affected in some way, shape, or form by the events of the last 3 months. And we have some of the situations are even more dire than others, families not being able to grieve the loss of loved ones, but we also have students who we knew in advance were coming from challenging environments. We knew that they were coming from trauma. I was reading an article the other day about psychotherapy, that maybe we should get rid of psychotherapy and really start looking at a trauma-based approach to therapy instead of asking asking a patient, what's wrong with you and having a conversation about it. Ask them what happened to you, establish where the trauma points were, and then work from that perspective going forward. Right now, we are in a trauma-based situation. We are in a situation where everyone that we're working with, including ourselves and our loved ones, are trying to deal with it, and we're at different stages as we go through that grief cycle. And as you're connecting with your students and as you're trying to motivate them, it's important to understand this basic idea as a way of thinking about their motivation, because a lot of times I hear it from teachers, the motivation is either their fault, the teacher's fault, saying that I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing it right, I'm not giving them enough interesting material, none of which is true, on the shoulders of the students or their parents, saying, well, they just don't care, there's no grading, what difference does it make? Well, if you look at it from grief and loss, if you look at it from a trauma-based model, what you're seeing is that you basically have gotten your students into one of these 4 or 5 areas of grief. And they're trying to manage this. And if you think of your students, depending on their age, really not depending on their age, but think about what they've lost coming into this point already, whether it be sports seasons or seeing a boyfriend or a girlfriend or being able to hang out with their friends or graduation or summer trip plans or being able to see other family members or all of these kinds of things. We have them being school oftentimes is the safest, most encouraging place in their entire lives. And now we've taken them completely out of that. And we know the kind of reaction that we get from students around holiday time and around summer break time as they start to think about school being gone for a significant amount of time, and they start to act out differently. What we're seeing here in lack of motivation isn't the fact that the students don't care. It's the fact that they're finding it hard to really identify and manage what they're feeling and what they're trying to understand inside themselves. They're going through the same stages of grief and loss that we are. And for us as educators, it's important that we are thinking about this in terms of the motivation and taking it off our shoulders and off of the students' shoulders and thinking about this as a trauma base. They're in trauma. Everyone is in trauma right now. They're not going to school because they don't like it. They're not going to school because they are in a trauma situation. And so we think about it from a grief and loss, and then we start thinking about how are we talking to the kids in our care? And I'm amazed because when I always set these things up, I talk about it from the perspective of K-8, K-12 educators. And a lot of times I get university educators in here as well, college. We have a number of you here with us today. But talking to the kids about what they're thinking, because, you know, all of a sudden, and this is not an all of a sudden thing. In 2008, we had a situation that basically rocked the majority of the world in an economic crisis that was unprecedented at the time. And now we're looking at a second one of those. And the kids who were in college were between the ages of 4 and 10 years old at that time. And all of a sudden there were cracks in the armor. And if you've been an educator as long as I have, you know that around that period of time, we started seeing some fall off in motivation. We started seeing some questioning. This is about the time when people started questioning the idea of higher education and the cost of higher education. And was it really worthwhile to go into that, or should we be pursuing some other kinds of things? In my mind, and what the stuff that I read is that kids started to question the idea of the, well, we'll call it the American dream, but the worldwide dream, that for the first time in history since probably the 1930s, 1940s, for that period of time, here's a generation who the research shows will probably not do better than their parents did, and every generation prior to them has. And they've all of a sudden began to realize what is really important. And they're asking those questions, whether they're asking them out loud or not, whether they're asking them in their own head or not. They are asking these questions, and they're asking us as leaders and as teachers and as important adults in their lives to be honest with them and to talk to them about what's happening. Ask them what they think about the virus. What do they think's happening? Ask them what they've heard. Ask them what they feel like is going on. And then more importantly, ask them about their future. You know, who's out there talking to the college students and to the older high school students about, you know, how do you think this is going to affect your future? Because if they're at home right now and a parent or two parents have lost a job, or they're not in school and their grades may suffer, and they don't understand the testing situation, they don't know about admissions into college next year, they have all of these questions that are either conscious or they're lurking around their conscious mind. And we may not be talking to them at all about these kinds of things. And they're thinking to themselves, what difference does it make? I can't get into college. My parents can't afford to pay for it right now. We don't know what's going to happen when the economy starts to ramp back up and whether or not they're going to be able to get jobs back easily. They have loved ones that are doing that. We have a lot of kids right now who are being tasked, especially the older kids, to take care of younger siblings and to actually be the teacher in the household. If their parents are still working, or they're trying to find jobs, or they're working from home, they have these kids are being tasked all day, every day, to be working with their younger siblings and trying to help them in their education process. They're being asked to take on the role of an adult, to do their lunches and the dinners and to take care of the kids. Are we talking to them about their worries and their fears, about their loved ones? What are our connection conversations with the kids in our care? And that is my major concern as a counselor and as an educator, because as of yesterday, I read that the governors around the United States are going to the education department saying we need at least $200 billion right now to prevent a disaster in education. And my question was, after reading that entire article, was, is the disaster the idea that we're going to fall behind academically? Or is the disaster the idea that we understand that this trauma that all of our children are experiencing right now is going to have long-term psychological effects? One of you mentioned that before, the onslaught of some of the psychological or mental illnesses that we're seeing. If we have kids with anxiety, if we have kids with depression, if we have kids with all kinds of other things that are lurking around and it's being maintained at this time, then those things are going to start to come to the forefront. They are worried, they are scared, and they have no sense of control. And so when we're talking to them and connecting with them, whether it's once a week, twice a week, I encourage you to do it daily if you can. I love the postcard idea, sending out something to connect with them, but being there, not making promises, just being present, validating their fears, talking to them about what's going on. Who's actually talking and listening to the kids, especially if their parents are overwhelmed with their own situation? And as educators and as leaders in our community, I believe it's our it's absolutely our obligation right now to be leading that procession and to be talking to our kids about what they're thinking and feeling, what their concerns are and what their worries are. Because if you think this motivation has to do with you, your classroom material, or the kids, it may be the internet, it may be the access. I believe, and this again coming from a counseling background, is that what we're dealing with has to do with their fears. It has to do with what they're experiencing. Their parents can't give them any answers. They're watching television and no one can give them answers. They're getting information from all sides. As educators, this is an opportunity to jump right into the middle of this and start to have an honest conversation with them. Restorative justice. What's restorative justice all about? Sit down and have an honest conversation with the kids about what happened and what they'd like to see different. Have honest conversations about being the change that you want to see. And these are the things right now that as a counselor and all these soft skills that people have been talking about for years, social emotional literacy, character education, these are the things that are absolutely critical right now. These are the most important things that we can be talking about. And when we begin to talk to kids about that, we begin to give them ways to manage. We begin to give them ideas about how to manage their anxiety, how to manage their emotions, what to do in situations. You're going to get them, they're going to loosen up. And when they start to loosen up, then they're going to be more interested in the information that we're trying to provide. But we first have to manage Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? We've got the pyramid. Where are we right now? Where are all of us right now? We're at the bottom two rungs of that. We're in the area of food and safety and shelter. That's where we are, and everyone is in that area. And we expect them to be moving their way up that ladder and expecting them to be able to accomplish things that for most of us are very difficult. I applaud every one of you who's here learning today, but I also you understand that you're working from the front of your brain, which none of our students are at this point. And so therefore the fear and the anxiety that they're experiencing is what is creating the majority of the motivation problems, or at least a vast majority of what we're dealing with. And these are the kids that we can reach, because obviously there are some kids who have turned it off and they've shut it down and they're done, and that's fine. And we need to be okay with that, because whatever this is going to be, we're going to find out what the results of this are in the fall. And we're going to have to move forward with that. But the expectation that we're going to be able to get everyone up to standard where they should be by August 15th, if in fact we do go back at that point, it's just too much. And also the expectation that you're going to be as good of a teacher online as you were face-to-face. That's going to take a long time. That's going to take an extended period of time for you to get to the point where you're able to share the information that you want to share in a healthy, productive way with your students. But it's going to start with honesty. It's going to start with connection. Some of the basic motivation tips for parents and sharing with parents when you get a chance, if you get a chance to incorporate parents into your conversations as much as you can, and seeing if you can talk to them as well. And seeing what they have going on, and talking to them about their family situations. And maybe you only connect with 5 families, but honestly, if you connect with 5 families, you are going to be doing such an amazing thing. If you have a class roll of 200 or 300 kids or 150 kids or whatever it happens to be, and you can connect with 10 or 15 of those families, you're doing fantastic. And that's the important thing, again, is to always be checking ourselves and checking what, if we're expecting 100% attendance or expecting that kind of thing, we're putting the bar too high on ourselves. Do what you can do. Do what's right in front of you. Set realistic goals for yourself. Buckle your own seatbelt first. Take care of yourself. And that's a slide that I missed that I wanted to go back to as well. And we talked about this on the last show, but I want to mention this as well, is buckling your own seatbelt first and thinking about how all of this is affecting you. This is so important that you understand yourself and how you're managing your anxiety and how you're managing your grief. And it starts with setting realistic goals and setting realistic boundaries. I have teachers coming on here all the time that are telling me, you know, I have office hours all day, every day. I'm concerned about the fact that, you know, certain students can only get on at certain times, and that, you know, it's my job and I'm still getting paid, and so I should be taking care of this. All of this is that it's putting too much pressure on yourself. You're experiencing the same stress level that everyone else is, and so it's important to take care of yourself first. Getting back to our slides, the motivation tip for parents: positive, honest, looking for what's good, looking for any movement in the right direction. Encourage parents to do the same kinds of things that you used to do in the classroom. Proximity, putting a hand on the shoulder, shortening the amount of work that they have to do, chunking it up. Give them some tips that worked for you in the classroom. Send it out to all your parents. Come up with a sheet of how you used to get kids, you know, the kid who's all back in a chair and he's not interested in it, and how did you get that kid motivated? Send them your tips. Bring yourself into your virtual classroom by sending your tips about how to motivate the students in the home-based classroom to the parents who want to use them, and give them ideas that you've used successfully. Hey, you know what's worked with me and Rusty in the past? Rusty's really good. If I just give him 3 or 4 exercises to do, and then I come back, hey man, you knocked it out. Can we do 3 more? Or whatever you've done that's worked with their student before, contact the parent and let them know that, because you know what? They are hungry for any of this kind of information. And you have some ideas and you've worked with these kids before. You can't always do it yourself in the virtual, but you can transfer it into the parents. And the parents that are able to can use that to help motivate their child to get some of that stuff done. For you, the key right here is to have the right attitude about online education. There's a lot of people out there that just feel like that this is ridiculous, it's never going to work, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, I got to be honest with you. I think it's going to become a much bigger part of what we're doing. And I think there are going to be master educators that figure out how to do it for large numbers of kids. I've been doing a daily social emotional learning video for schools around the country since about 2005. And I have about 25,000 kids a day who watch my show, which means as an online educator, I reach 25,000 kids a day. I have 500 or 600 teachers that watch it on a daily basis. And so therefore my reach is much different because of the online platform. And obviously what I'm talking about, I'll share the program with you at the end. It's free for anyone to use. It's usually geared towards the K-8, K-12 environment. But to understand that this is not just something that's happening. This is something that's happening. Other motivational tips, we talk about the things like creating routines for them. When you're doing your webinar, monitor your tone of voice. Think about where your face is in the camera. I've seen a lot of teachers that are teaching online that are actually even looking the other way, or they're talking and they've got something that behind them or something that they've created. Use the whiteboard that's here in Zoom or in any of the programs that you're using. Make sure that a lot of the activity, and I love the teacher that was also mentioning having the kids lead the classroom. Those are great. If you can create online jobs, anything like that is very successful. And also to be yourself. Connect to motivate. This is really important whether you're a parent or you're a teacher, and talking to parents about this as well. The first 5 minutes of face-to-face and the last minutes of face-to-face with my children, the first 5 minutes of the day when they wake up is just kind of us just sitting there quietly for 5 minutes and me chat. They're 4 and 3, so we're not having deep conversations about anything. But it's, you know, that's really important. At the end of the day, my wife and I have a couple of things that we go through. We think about, we say a couple of quotes that are really interesting to us. And we also do some other stuff that we think is important. And then I also ask them something good about today. You know, talk to them and say, you know, what's something good that's happened today? Share that with me. And ask each one of them to share a positive. As much writing as you can get right now, encouraging students to write, encouraging students to go and do a lot of, you know, talking to themselves about what they're feeling. Get them aware of their feelings, get them to name their feelings. Continue to be positive, speaking in the future tense. Give them as much choice as you possibly can. And always we're leading by example. They're watching us to see what we're doing, how we're handling it, how we're, you know, modeling patience. What are we doing that's working and not working? And those are really important things. I just got a note here. Is everybody still able to see me okay? Can I get a thumbs up and everything? I got a note about some technical difficulty. Everybody still here? Anybody all good? All right, I want to share the screen again, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the resource that I've created. And again, it's all free. You can even find these videos on YouTube if you want. You don't have to go to the website. You don't have to log in or anything. It's all wide open right now. So these are online videos that I do every day of the school year. I've got one for the K2, the 3-8. I've got brain breaks. I also have videos for for middle school and high school advisory. If you want to do advisory, you can see it as well. And these are 1-minute videos. They're just as short as you can see. And so I'm just going to pop up a real quick one of the 3/8 videos and make sure that the computer sound, I think we shared that with the screen. So when you click on the video section, it just takes you in there, and then it gives you the videos for the day. They're lined up individually throughout the different things. And as you can see, I do a brand new one every day. And so this week we're doing a check-in. We do a check-in every Monday to see how everybody's doing. So I'm just going to play this real quickly. I believe you should be able to hear it, but let me know if you're not picking up the sound. Hey, little diamonds. I hope this finds you and yours doing well and staying safe and strong out there. So things are starting to open up again, and some of you are even going back to school, which is great. But it could also be making you a little nervous. You've all heard a lot of things about this virus and why we had to go away from each other for a while. And now some of us are being asked to come back together. So what's it all mean? Well, what it means is that yes, we can come back together as long as we're following our leaders at home and in school. And that's what this week's videos are all about. The most important thing for you to know is that our #1 job is to keep you safe and strong. The best way you can help us do that is keep following our lead and doing what we're asking you to do. I'm here for you, Diamond, so if you have any questions, have your teacher or parents email me. And remember, my daily videos are open for you to watch anytime you want at schooltoolstv.com and on YouTube by searching Rusty's Daily Videos. You're doing an amazing job, Diamonds. Keep it up. Thanks for watching, and remember, we're all in this together and we're here to help you through. As long as we keep trying, there is nothing we can't do. Peace out, little diamonds. Have a fantastic day. So as I said, that's schooltoolstv.com. It's School Tools with an S. I'll put it in there, toolstv.com. The videos for the older kids they're obviously depending on the age of the kids. Do I think kids are getting tired of video? No, and that was my last point. Thank you for your question, and I'm going to open it up to questions right now. So if you have one, give me a thumbs up or raise a hand in your virtual window. But I got a question from somebody saying, do you think kids are getting tired of videos? And my answer, Virginia, is absolutely not. And the thing is that technology is where it's at right now. What kids are getting tired of is a long video. And that's why my videos are exactly 55 seconds, because it's the length of a long commercial. And one of the things that I'm hearing from parents is that there's a lot of teachers out there that are going online and they're just doing a full 1-hour presentation of themselves in front of a video camera like this and expecting their kids to watch it. That's boring. There are so many resources out there right now to teach what you're teaching. Just go ahead and go look online. Go look for a YouTube. Go look for something. Find somebody else that's already done it. Don't recreate the wheel, and figure out fun, interactive ways. Let your kids send videos back to you. They are not bored with technology. This is the dream come true for them if we take advantage of it. And the most important thing is that we give them stuff that's valuable and stuff that they can easily, that they can get a hold of pretty quickly, instead of stuff that there is long and boring, and you're talking about too much screen time. Too much screen time is a concern, but we should be able. The Homeschool Association says that for K4 students, it should be 1 to 2 hours a day, including homework. For 4th to 8th grade students, it should be 2 to 3 hours a day, and at most 4 hours a day for the older kids. We have education as an 8-hour day because of daycare. It has nothing to do with what we're trying to accomplish. And the important, well, it does, because there's a lot of stuff forced into that period of time. But what we want to do is that we have to go out there and look. Do I have any recommended resources? Absolutely, Adrienne. If you want to send me an email, please send me at rusty@schooltoolstv.com. Tell me what you're looking for, and I will find it for you. But right now, we can give them basic information. We can teach them what they can do the best that we can. And if you send me your email, Elaine, I'll put you on my mailing list for sure. And thank you for your tips. Your tips were amazing. please keep them coming in the chat box, because this recording will be available, and I'll make a copy paste of this chat as well, so you can email me again. Like I said, I'll put that in there, rusty@schooltoolstv.com. Right there, send me an email. I will send it out to everyone. I sent it privately? No. Did I send it privately? Why did I send it privately? See, like I said, you have to learn how to do this. See it if I send it to everyone. All right. There it is right there. And this show is going to be on every week, I hope. We're going to keep doing it as long as Steve lets me be here. So if you have questions or comments, I will be here as well. And yeah, we just got a comment from Virginia about we haven't had a change in education in over 70 years. If you think about public education, that was really the idea of public education was to address the Industrial Revolution. It was to get kids prepared for the idea of leaving farm work and going into the cities. And we haven't changed it very much since then. We're in the fourth, coming up on the fifth Industrial Revolution, and we need to fundamentally change education. And that's what this opportunity gives us an opportunity to do. This is an incredible opportunity for all of us, and we should be speaking to our leaders and our Congress people and everyone else about the fact that we need to be making changes, because kids are bored with what we're giving them, because a lot of times what we're giving them is boring. And we can do better, and we know we can. Look what you've accomplished. Look what you've been able to do in just the last 3 weeks. Imagine what it's going to be like. I'm hearing from teachers all the time. I had no idea that I could do this. I had no idea that it worked like this. I didn't know there was a whiteboard in Zoom. I wasn't aware of it. And every one of them were interested in trying to think about technology, but they didn't have the time. And now we've been forced into it. And we are there. We are on the precipice of being able to make fundamental changes in education. And I cannot thank you enough for what you're doing. And I can't thank you enough for being here today and being a part of the show. Does anybody else have another question? Anybody want to raise a hand? Give me a thumbs up if you have a question. I think you can unmute yourself if you just want to come on and ask me. Anybody? No questions? Teacher education is at fault. There are kids not coming back to old classrooms, and during the boredom comes to the return. Yeah, and teacher education it's not so much that it's at fault, it's that administrators won't pay for it. What they pay for is for all of us to become really good at disseminating information. And that's not, ladies and gentlemen, if a human being is going to be judged on their ability to learn and regurgitate information, I have a cell phone that can do that better than 6 billion of us on the planet right now. There's no way that that's the way that a human being is going to operate in the 21st century, in the fifth industrial revolution. There are way too many things. What about older kids? Well, the videos, I have videos for older kids as well, but if you have a specific question to Tahira, please let me know. Have you had students make their own videos? I have had students make their own videos and send them to me. I get videos all the time from kids, classrooms doing videos, doing the ending. The ending that I do, kids memorize it within a week or two. And so then they're always sending me videos showing me that. And it's a really big motivator. So I'm doing individual videos for classrooms right now. And they're emailing me back. Don't scratch your face. I just washed my hands, I promise. But it's great. Have kids make videos. Yeah, the teacher that was out there that was involved in the art or in the theater, definitely have kids do online auditions. Do an online play and have them do. Why couldn't you do a Zoom play? I could do a play. I think you could do a play on Zoom. It'd be a little bit, everybody'd have to learn the parts, but you could do it on Zoom. I think it'd be pretty cool. Do a play on Zoom. Do the spring play on Zoom and have people audition and see if that's going to happen. That I think would be fantastic. So we have some information about Flipgrid. Again, I'm going to copy this. So if you send me an email, I'll be thank you, Virginia. Good to see you. Anybody that has any information, send me an email, but I will copy and make a copy of this chat available to all you guys and to everyone here. All y'all. I'll make it available, rusty@schooltoolstv.com. I'll be here next Wednesday at the same time. Thank you for everything you're doing. It's been amazing to get a chance to talk with you today. You're doing amazing work and you're touching the future. Take care, stay safe, and stay strong.